Well, hello. We're back again for more uh Other Ink Thursday or no Wedding Wednesday. This is Wedding Wednesday.
It's a wedding Wednesday.
It's Wedding Wednesday. I recorded somebody with other people recently. I forgot. Hey, Brandon Ayton is here, my co-owner of Wedding Games. You're gonna get, you know, two fisted fighting power from Wedding Games. We're gonna talk about stuff at the start of Q3.
Yeah.
Ah.
Man, we have so much stuff going on.
I
Um,
know. I don't even know what. I'm just now trying to remember like what had happened since 3 months ago when we talked. I should have reviewed the list of topics that we talked about 3 months ago.
well,
Because it's not it. We hadn't even been to PAX East yet three
nope.
months ago, right?
Right.
So we've been to two cons since the last video, since the
Been
last
to two
quarterly check-in.
cons. OMG Cats finished and wrapped up. That backer kit should be going out any day and getting pe out to people so they can
Right.
get some more.
The manuscripts are
Yep,
nearly complete for both books that come out of that.
absolutely. Um, and that's super exciting. We got the fact that uh Garbage and Glory and Herd are those projects are literally on a boat right
They're
now
on the boat.
and will be uh, in port before the end of July. So that is excellent. So we can finally wrap those two projects up. We've seen advanced copies of both of those projects and they look fantastic. I mean, heck, Matt, over at
Yeah.
Origins, you and I played, we got to play Herd.
Well, we played Herd. Yeah, here's
And
the
there's Garbage and Glory.
Garbage and Glory book. Uh yeah. So
And here's
advanced.
Garbage and Glory dice. Ah, or
Oh,
cards.
those are cards. I The dice are here. I got dice.
I got dice. So yeah, they're here. Everything's here. Or on the way
I
here.
mean,
So you've
right.
seen it.
The samples.
Ah,
I mean, they're not even samples. They're like, send us the
these are
first
the production
box,
things. Yeah.
send us the first couple boxes, and
Yep.
then the rest will come slowly on the ship.
The
Which would you
great
call it?
news,
The
I think
C-SPAN
the
beauty? Is that what you said it was?
C-SPAN beauty, not C-SPAN like, you know, congressional television. This is
Like
SEA span.
like C-SPAN on uh BoJack Horseman, where the whale is the host, and it's called C-SPAN.
Yes, exactly. But I'm excited because at Gen Con, not only are we gonna have Sam Brick,
Oh yeah.
artist of Garbage and Glory, we're also going to have Sam Knowlton, the designer of Herd, with us. So we're gonna have all the Sams.
Yeah,
We're gonna
it's Two-Fisted Sam action as well
yeah, we're
as
gonna have
Two-Fisted Wedding action.
embarrassment of Sam Riches. So um yeah. See, next time we actually need to get multiple riches and have an embarrassment of riches. We can get Richard Ruane and we can get
Richard
Rich.
Ruane and Rich Ronaldo, get them in there
Yeah,
together.
get them both. So now we have to do this. That's it.
It's pretty funny. Rich usually comes down to Gen
I
Con. We
know
can make it happen.
we can. Got to get a project for both of them, and we just call it the embarrassment of riches.
This is a good bad idea. This is
This is a great bad idea. This is a great terrible idea. I love it.
uh yeah, I think Rich and Rich would be really good working together.
I think they
Uh
would too.
yeah. Hmm. All right.
Hey Matt, write that down.
Wait, yeah, where's a pen? I need to write this one down. Uh all right. So I don't know. Like uh, I didn't I often say that I don't write down an agenda. So that is also true this time. I don't have like a plan for what we need to talk about this time. Just we've kind of hit the highlights of our last 3 months, and
Oh
we
man,
started looking forward to the next three. But like, I guess we should talk about PAX East because that's a new thing that we did this year for sure. And I
absolutely.
mean, I mean, it's been. I wrote up a little thing that was on the IGDN. blog about my experiences. But what else? What were your thoughts? Like, what as a new con to try out? What were you thinking about going into PAX East?
I was really hoping that PAX East would have been better for us, not because it was necessarily bad, but because as much as I love PAX Unplugged and as much as I love the city of Boston, I
Mm,
was like, yeah, I was really hoping that it would just be absolutely gangbusters. So we would be like super excited to to go back and chomping at the bit. Like it was a
yeah.
good con. I got to see people. I got to see friends that I haven't seen in decades, right? Um, from when I was in school up there, but also like our con family. We had to see a bunch of people there, but like it seemed down. Uh,
Hmm.
and even other people who had been to PAX East before had said it seemed down. Um, so who knows? Maybe it's something that we go back to and it's gangbusters again, but um, you know, I I there was not a whole lot immediately around the convention center. Like I think Origins and Gen Con and PAX Unplugged really have us kind of spoiled. You can like walk out the door and throw a baseball and hit like 50 places where you can eat,
Yeah,
right?
for real.
Which,
Origins has North Market and uh, Reading Terminal is right there for PAX Unplugged, and
yeah, Gen Con
there's
has Georgia
nothing
Street and all the food trucks and everything. So
right. There's nothing comparable to that or what that was available. I mean, there were restaurants that were within walking distance, but not quite
not the
the
same.
like we were trying to go to a I was like, I just want to go to like a beer and pizza place. And it was like they don't have those in this neighborhood. There's not a beer and pizza place. Like
No.
there's like you could get this artisanal flatbread at this one restaurant, but that is not a beer and pizza place.
Right.
It's just
Right.
it was a weird I mean, it's not a weird. It's perfectly understandable phenomenon of like that area of town being redeveloped into from like docks into like business district, and they put a convention center there, and so it
Yeah.
has the restaurants that go with that kind of redevelopment, but they don't have like you know like I don't know a pizza
Yeah.
place called like Longshoreman, that like used to be like a union work mess hall type thing,
I
and
want a greasy pizza and a pint. That's what I
hmm.
want.
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
three or four. But
right, exactly. They don't have those there. Um,
so no, you definitely we went somewhere else and got
somewhere,
our pints elsewhere, but
sure. But I
but
mean,
it's not
like,
walking out the
it's
door.
not walking out the door. I mean, other than that fancy thing, I mean, everything we did in Boston, every place we did go to eat, every place we did walk to, like, all that was great.
Oh yeah, it's
There
phenomenal.
was
Anyway,
we we
yeah.
went to the most diffuse bar I've ever been to. It was like on top of a parking garage
Yep.
and it was outside, so they had like a little kiosk that was like the place where you got the beer, but then it was not a building. There were no walls. There were like some tables and
Yep.
uh it was sort of an area on this one level of the parking garage on the
Yes.
top level of the parking garage. And it was like this is a building? I mean this is a it's you
Yeah.
just come in and get a beer and drink it
Hang
and leave
out
again and you go through any wall you want because there are no walls.
because there are no walls.
There's,
Yeah, it's one of those things that's like it was not bad enough where we left and we're like,
mm,
oh, absolutely not. And it was
right.
not good enough to be like, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I mean,
Right.
it was fine, and I look forward to keeping it on the roster of like, okay, are we going back this year, right?
Yeah.
There are definitely cons that we know that we are going to, like before we even leave, we already booked for the next year, etc. And so PAX East may get back to that place, but we'll be checking that out.
Yeah.
Um, it was all in all. I think it was really great to get to see Stephen Wu,
Yeah.
who wrote Tenebria, did all the art for Tenebria, worked on Zhangshi. He's written for a number of things for us. Getting to see him is always great. Like
Yeah. He came
he is
up for the show.
fantastic. And it was great that he got to help out at the show, and it was great that he got to take his stuff around to talk to other companies as well. And then Michael Lewis actually lives in Boston. He's an IGDN member and a buddy of ours, and it was awesome. Well, he lives outside of Boston, but he um, was able to come down and hang out and sell some of his games at our booth. And um, I always, cherish the times that we get to see him because of where he lives compared to us. Um, he's and again another great guy, and
All
so excited
around.
to see him.
Two
So
two very fine humans to spend the week with up there in Boston.
yeah, for real, for real. So yeah, definitely, it definitely had its perks. So
Yeah.
um, plus, the 12-hour drive on the way back, we got to talk about
Oh,
literally whatever we wanted.
it was 17 hours, Brandon, not 12.
17 hours of magic.
Uh-huh. Uh, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of driving. Oh, I mean,
So
that's one thing that we did on the way back, uh, which was interesting. I guess it's I think I'll mention it. It's barely noteworthy, but we did get to stop at our warehouse
oh
and
yeah, for real.
see the big the big empty room where all of our like product is kept.
Yeah,
Because it was vaguely on the way, so we stopped and in person picked up some new a refresh of our personal supplies of home and a little bit of the never going home peripherals, Dyson cards and stuff like that. So we stopped. They had it brought up to the loading dock, and we got to you know see inside a little bit of the working of like the for real on the ground part of what has become
yeah,
not everything is in like your basement anymore. So like where it feels unreal sometimes, but then like, you go and stop and look at the big warehouse and it's like, well, there it is. That's the where we've moved the product to, it's bigger than
yeah.
your basement. So
And it was great to to finally meet our rep like face to face, and um talk about some of the nerdy stuff that we make and do. Um, and the cool thing is that like when we go up to PAX East, we could even stop there on the way up. We could stop there on the way back because they are a stone's throw away from Philly.
mhm.
Um, Gamma is going to be in Baltimore. Um, so it's not out of the question if we ever need to go up and then back down because of where they are. They're like if we were going to fly to that area or get close enough to it, flying into Baltimore Airport is what we would do. I've done that multiple times, and it's great. It's not it is not local to us, but it is in a place where we can get to it when we need it.
Hmm. Right.
So
Well, so
yeah,
that was PAX East. I don't know. Like I think the big thing that's been going on for a year. I mean, we kind of already mentioned it, but the getting all the garbage and glory stuff to that final line and
yes.
getting the print run. I don't know if 3 months ago we had finalized all the stuff and done the print run. Um, the
We had the
book,
blank proofs, I think.
the book, the layout on the book. We established the look with Matthias Bonici, our graphic designer, back last year when we did the Garbage and Glory Quick Start. So in part it was just following the same thing, but following through with the same thing, but it's all those little final details, like you end up with an extra page and what do you do with the extra page and looking through it. I think actually at a very late stage it was noticed that there was a page number jump, so we had to go back and fix page numbers, have
Yeah.
Matthias fix the page numbers. So it is it was a lot of work. It was just a lot of work to get it to the point, and then you don't see it for like while they make it, and you're just kind of like, I don't know, I hope it looks good in person. And then it is kind of nice to see it in person, and it's our biggest plus one book so far in terms
It
of like
is a
in
chunky boy. Like it
I mean,
is,
it's right at the edge of like what you want for this kind of binding, the perfect bound
yeah.
stuff. But Sam's art looks great in it. The all the little textures to the paper, like every page looks like it's wrinkled because it's trash. It's a book about trash. The little grabby hands for the check marks for all the stat blocks and stuff like that look fun. So it's um it's a good looking book. I'm pretty happy to both have worked on it and also to be done having worked on it
For real.
because
Yeah,
it did it's been a long time in process.
and I know people are really wanting to get that in their hands. They have the PDF and everything, but being able to get like the final product in their hands is going to be, it's going to be a win, right? Like it's like you said, it is the biggest plus one product that we've done. There's a lot of really cool things that have been done to the plus one system in that book. And it's just going to be fun to see on the table and have people play it. Sam's art, like you said, is fantastic. Uh, it- we're actually going to be making some Garbage and Glory shirts
Oh
that
yeah.
Sam is working on already. We posted that in our last Garbage and Glory update to those backers to be the first to see it. But if you follow us on social media, we'll have links to the order form and everything when that goes up. Um, Basically, we're gonna have shirts that are in these colors, this yellow, this pink, and this like teal, with three different designs on them that Sam is gonna have for original art from he's doing only for those shirts or specifically for those shirts rather. And I'm excited. It's just going to be a fun product and a fun line. I'm glad to be done with it and get it in people's hands.
Yeah. I mean, because we met Sam, and I know I've said this many times already, so like it's sort of maybe boring to hear it, but like we met Sam at Origins 3 years ago. So we wanted to have this be like the kind of the big release of the game at Origins 3 years after first meeting Sam and seeing the art and being inspired to make the game. Um, and it has, just with the production issues this year, it and more of the shipping issues, but whatever, whatever. We
Yeah.
did technically make it, and there was some available at Origins, but we're kind of doing more of almost like a big release at Gen Con,
Yeah.
because that's where Sam will be at our booth at Gen Con, as Brandon already mentioned, and we'll have games of it being run at Gen Con as well. We didn't have any games of it being run at Origins. So with the shirts and Sam in our booth and product actually available and games being run, like Gen Con will be kind of like it'll end up being like a big party for Garbage and Glory for us for this year. So
And same thing with PAX East, or PAX Unplugged, in
yeah,
December. Like we'll have you know, anything that doesn't necessarily make it to Gen Con, we'll definitely have at PAX Unplugged, and Sam will be there with
so
us again. Um,
it's the
and
plan.
again, it's gonna be great. Um,
I always forget
I
that PAX Unplugged is like 2 weeks earlier this year. So
Yeah, yeah, and
I don't know. That
well,
changes things, but we'll see.
it does. Um, but it means I can actually go this year. I
You keep escaping
know. I
the
keep escaping
moratorium.
by the skin of my teeth. Um, the uh, the other thing I think is that I'm really excited about is Herd. That
Absolutely.
it looks fantastic. Um, Jan's art and Sam's design, like Sam and I went back and forth on different
Sure.
things. Um, And even in the final product, there's so many things that we're excited about for the future of that game. Um, and
Well,
so we'll have the promo pack, we'll have the expansion, we'll have the core game and some of the playmats and stuff available
we
at Gen
did,
Con. But it looks
yeah.
so good. It looks so good.
Well, yeah, and we did sort of, uh, it was half intentional, half unintentional, but we were playing it in the hotel lobby at the Hyatt at the Hyatt attached to the convention center in Origins. They call it the Big Bar on two, and like
Yep.
it is because it's on the second floor, and just uh, that's the first floor for you British listeners. It is the I mean it's a bar there and it's tables and chairs and people sit there and they play games and they talk about business stuff because it's where everybody's hanging out. So we brought Herd and we got a little two-seater and we sat there next to the hallway and we played it and the number of people who stopped and like looked to like, oh, what is this? I'm like, oh, this is a dinosaur card game that we're about to publish. And they're like, it looks great. I'm like, thank you. Like we had that conversation multiple times as we played it
Yep.
that night because it does. It looks great and it has I mean it has a look that I won't say is like never been seen before, but definitely not your typical uh presentation with that Jan art. And Jan's art is just it remains so striking and people have really responded to it. So it's like it's great. I think once people can walk away with it, they'll be happy to do so.
And one we had the one production copy that was there at Origins, and we had it on our table the whole time. We had two well-known board game reviewers stop by at different times, and both of them were like, "This box cover is fantastic," and I'm like, "Yep." I love to hear that. Just like looking at as they were coming by and they just saw that. I love hearing that. It means it's doing the job it's supposed to do. Uh,
Absolutely.
and someone had asked on the Kickstarter. They said, "Oh well, I see that insert because I've showed them pictures of the production copy earlier with all the cards." And they said, "Can you sleeve it like with the insert?" And we didn't know. So, but like the Thursday of the con, we went and picked up a whole bunch of sleeves at one of the booths. Came back, sleeved the whole game, all the expansion cards, all the promo cards, and it all fit in the core box. It was very, very dense. It was very, very hefty, but it's all in there, and it's not bulging out of the top off the box or anything like that. It's all in there, but it's in there real tight. So
There you go.
it's good. It's a win.
Yeah. Uh yeah. So I don't know. We talked about production stuff, and so that's all those games are due to arrive in July.
Yep.
And then they'll be moving on to fulfillment after that. Generally, our fulfillment has gone pretty easily, I think. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
So I think we are with the same fulfillment partner that we've been with for the last couple campaigns. So I think I don't anticipate any problems there. But I'm sure our backers will let us know.
The the biggest thing that I'm going to be working with them on, I know when Never Going Home fulfilled the most recent one, there were incidences where like, a box would be like this big and there'd be a lot of extra space in there and they'd, have some packing materials. Like, no, I need it to be a more appropriately sized box with
Hmm,
appropriately sized amount of packing material, just to again prevent any damages or anything. Because that's the last thing we want is for people to get their stuff and have it be damaged, or for people to get their stuff and um, have to return it, or it's just we don't want that. It's a bad
right.
experience all around. So that's the main thing I'm going to be working with them on. Other than that, like the speed of fulfillment once it's in their hands and in their warehouse, it's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we talked about PAX East. We talked about production stuff for the two things that are in physical manufacturing right now.
Hmm.
We mentioned cats in passing. I don't know that there's too much more to say about cats, but
Oh,
do you
before we go on, can I mention one thing?
please?
You talked about how at Origins we got to meet Sam 3 years ago, and we wanted to have
Oh
this
yeah,
out there.
yeah.
This was um, kind of special because like at that Origins 3 years ago, we met
Mm,
Sarah N.W. Miller, we met Sam Brick, and we met Lucy Shearer, right?
yeah.
All three at that show. We didn't get to see Sam, but we got to see Sam, or I'm sorry, Sarah, but we got to see Sarah's partner at the show.
Hmm.
We did get to see Sam, obviously, and hang out
Yeah.
with Sam and everything. We went out to dinner one night and we saw one of Lucy's giant murals. She's a muralist, and we got to
Yeah,
see
yeah.
it. And it was fantastic to
It
go see some of her other art like in person.
right. It
And
was
then she came that one day on Sunday, and we got to
right.
see her and reconnect with her, and it was fantastic to catch up.
Yeah.
That show 3 years ago was phenomenal in that regard, where we got to meet and build those relationships with three new artists,
Hmm.
put their art in games that we were making, um, and for them to be able to come back and see us and see the end result of their labor was awesome. So yeah,
Yeah. I agree. I completely. And I think that's sort of like, I mean, I think this is all we could talk more about Origins, I think, in general now. But what you're saying is like one of the things. I mean, it feels like it's so weird because it is like 3.5 hours away from us, but it does feel like sort of our local show in a lot
kind
of
of, yeah,
ways. I feel like it's sort of like our home show. And part of that is because, Lucas and Robert and Bridget and Sam and Lucy, they all live in that area. And so like when we go up there, it's like we're seeing a bunch of people who are like, this is their turf, and so
right.
these are all of our some of our con friends and producers of other games and people that we've been on actual plays with and people that we've written for or hired or there's such a presence of and then the same thing with the Louisville people go up there together because we've got Jonathan and Chris and Betty and from Lurking Fears, and the whole Lurking Fears crew is there, and all the
Yep.
leadership of Lurking Fears is here in Louisville. So then when we go up there, we see them there. It's like, oh, it's like home. And then
Right.
also Edwin is one of our biggest, most supportive GMs. Like he was running Xiangshe this year and home and garbage or not. He was running
Never going.
Never Going Home for people in the game room, and like he's from Pittsburgh, so like he's coming down from Pittsburgh, and we're coming up from Louisville, and a bunch of people live that we know live in Columbus, and then there were
Oh yeah.
people who were coming down from Michigan and coming over from Chicago, and Mark and Janet of Dirty Woods are over from Indianapolis, and like it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really I'm
No, I
having
think
trouble
it,
articulating exactly what I'm saying, but like there is this big wide regional area that
yeah.
all gathers at Columbus, and like we know all of these people and like them, and so going to Columbus is very much like being with the people, your people,
Yeah,
especially
you said
for
it
us.
feels like our home show, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, it definitely feels like home. It is some companies don't always do great at Origins. We never really had that problem, but um, I think the feel of it being a show for us, right? Like, um, we could very easily wake up on any morning and drive to Columbus. Like
Yeah,
it's
right.
not, it is not too far away.
Right. It's not too far away. And so that part of it, and from like a business sales thing, like we were down this year at Origins from last year, but you were saying the whole show that like we were up from the year before last year, so like maybe we're flat over 3 years. Um, it's okay. We did okay at the con. It's not a year to expect stratospheric achievements in the terms of like selling the books to the people. There's lots of reasons, for that economy wise. But we did
Yeah.
okay at this show, and also it felt great to be there. Just the excitement of the con floor, people, hanging out with designers, hearing about games, seeing our con friends, it was good times, good times.
Yeah.
I know that we did a couple things specifically that I want to talk about that were different this year. I don't know if you've got anything else that you want specifically to talk about that we did at Origins.
I mean, there were a couple of things, I was able to go be on a panel this year, which this was the first time at Origins where Crystal Mazer, who has written for us for since the beginning, um, well, she normally runs a bunch of panels at uh, every con. Like at Gen Con, she runs panels. She hosts panels at Gamehole Con. This was the first time she had done so at Origins, and I was able to join on one of those. And I thought it was great for her to kind of uh, bring her talents there, and get some really good information to people who were attending. And many of those people actually swung by the booth and thanked me for being on the panel and giving them information as well. Um, and it was great that like Matt, you had gone and done a game. We both had gone to do different things that we had never done
Yeah.
at that con before, even though we were down a person. One of our normal workers and friends was unable to be there this year for a number of reasons, but we had people that were able to step up and assist. Edwin, who you mentioned earlier, Crystal, stopped by a couple of times as well. Um, we've run that booth just us before, but this was we had
Usually at a
friends that were
smaller
able to
shows.
step up. Right. So it was
Yeah.
cool to be able to see that the like the wet ink family kind of coming together
Yeah, the
to
Wet Ink
kind of
family.
help us out when we really needed it, and for us to be able to still branch out and do things we haven't done at that show before.
Yeah. So the game that I got to go play was Andrew Gasca's new Apes game, Planet of the Apes, which is coming out soon. From like the quick start is out now. You can get the box set coming later. I think it's Magnetic Press is the name of the company, but it uses the West End Games D6 pool system, Wild Die, and all that. And but it's Planet of the Apes, and it's like for me, somebody who grew up watching the like 70s Apes movies, it is such the 70s Apes movies, in the aesthetic and in the sort of like tropes that it's playing with. And so to play that, I played it with the Stratton brothers from Limithron
Yep.
and some other people that I hadn't met before who have various podcasts and shows around the gaming space. And so, just to be at that table with all of those people and get to be like, you know, oh look, there's a human in the woods. Fire your guns. Oh, get down. Like it was very very silly on one level, but also very much like it's apes. It's if you see the ape movies, this is what this game was. It was an apes movie, and so I appreciated that about it. So yeah, it was fun to like Brandon was saying. You were saying it's like these are things that are sort of like getting asked to do these things by people and you want to say yes because then you're sort of
Oh yeah.
like present and you're giving back to the greater community in a way where you can, you know, you know, both build the connections with the people you already know, but also sort of show yourself off to and your knowledge or your whatever to the audience. I don't know, it feels good to be doing industry things on a level that's beyond just we are present at the show and you can buy our stuff.
Yeah. Well, which apes movie was it that was like in present day where it was like it was very much like the in that same time of like Star Trek, the Journey Home, right? Remember,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
you
I
know,
mean, it wasn't that, but like I think that one's Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Escape from the Planet of the Apes,
I mean,
because
of the
they're
old ones, because that's the
of
one
the
where
old,
they go, the apes end up in like 1960s
yeah,
America.
right,
Like,
and yeah, that's the feel that, and it's funny because my kids have seen that like clips of that in passing on YouTube or whatever, and I only say this because as a bearded dude, there is a person who works at our local grocery store who just like has a really big beard and he's got really long hair, and it's very funny because one of my kids said like, "Oh, it's like in the Apes movie," and it was like it very much looks like um the costuming from that movie, like person in modern day, and I'm like, um, I see what you're saying. We don't comment like that about people's appearance. Like it's like, obviously they were being rude. They're being kids, but I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I see how you could say that person looks like they're from the Planet of the Apes movie, right? I don't know. It was wild to me that like my kids who this one was my 10-year-old, right? Like still made that connection from the a movie that hasn't, the old movies haven't been out in years, right?
yeah, they're all from like
They're all in the
68
culture.
through 76 or so was when they were making those movies.
Man, they were I have a special place in my heart for those movies.
Hmm. The other thing we got to do together, which was pretty fun, was we went to the Unpublished Network, Unpub area, and we did a speed dating designer publisher speed dating. Got to meet 12 designers and see their games, and
Yep.
so definitely there'll be some follow-ups coming out of that meeting that we, at the time of recording, haven't quite gotten to yet. But you know, again,
Very
just sort
excited.
of yeah, like it's great to be we heard a mix of all kinds of things. Like, oh, I don't know you as a company yet. It's like, yeah, fair enough. We've only done like one and a half board games. Also, like other people were like, oh, I didn't know you did board games. It's like, yes, well, it's new. They know us, but they didn't know we did board games. It's like, well, it's a new line of business that we're developing. Um, Other people were like, ooh, I went to your table and I saw your games, and I think I've got a game that I want to pitch to you. Not this one here that's at the table. I'll pitch this other one to you later because now that I know what you do,
Right.
I got one that'll fit your vibe. And we're like, ooh, yes, please. That's the best when you have like people that are like
That know
they've
what you
seen
do.
what we've done already and they think they've got one that'll fit well with the games that we're already making. That's the best. So again, it's just another industry event that are it feels like we're doing something right, I guess is what I'm saying. That like we're
Yeah.
we're being given these um invites to come do these industry events, these events at another level. And
Yeah.
yeah, offer our
And I love the
expertise
fact that the
such as it
designers,
exists.
the multiple designers, like you said, when we sat down at one table and the designer said, "Wet Ink Games, I know what you guys make. I know the kind of games you all make, and I hope you're really excited about this because it." And that designer read us like a book. Like we sat down, he gave us the pitch, and I remember you leaned forward and said, "This is the most excited I've been at this event so far." Right?
Yeah.
Because
I,
they were exactly correct. That design was something that not only fit our aesthetic, it fits our design methodology. It does everything that we want it to do.
right.
Um, and I thought that was great. I love it when designers and creators know what you know, the kinds of stuff that you do and make. Um, and that was actually at my panel that I was on. One of the things I talked about was like, if you are going to go and pitch your game, like cold call companies or whatever, you need to know what they make. If you go to like Haba, which generally makes lightweight kids and family games, and
Uh-huh.
you're
Uh-huh.
like, "Hey, will you publish my like super dark eldritch horror role-playing game?" Haba's going to be like, "What are you talking about? We make
Right.
none of that."
Right. Right.
You know, I'm like, know who your audience is, know who you're pitching to. And I think everyone at that event, even if they said like, we don't know, we didn't know that you made board games or we didn't know this, like they still knew enough to say like, okay, here's kind of what it is. Of these other things that we do, we may have something better for you, or
Yeah.
just give us feedback, even if you're not, if this game isn't for your company.
I think a couple of the people had a couple games set up and they were kind of like gearing their pitch one way or the other based on, they had two games and they were like, okay, this one I think will be more for you or would ask
Right.
us, this is this kind of game, this is this kind of game, which one do you want to hear about? So,
Or
um, which is
I
great.
got a number of people who asked at the event or afterwards, like, what kind of games are you looking for?
Right.
And which is hard at this point because we're not really looking for games because we have a backlog, but we also know that if we find the right one or are pitched one that like is great, then we're like, okay, that's what we're looking for. We didn't know it
Right.
yet.
Right. Right. I mean, like, what kind of games are you looking for in a very general sense? Like, what games are you actually ready
Right.
to like sign a contract and put in your production queue is sort of the next that it's increasingly smaller
It's
circles.
increasingly smaller. Right. Absolutely.
But yeah, I don't know. Having said that, what do you think, what kind of games are we looking for?
Oh
Do,
man. Well, I know we've talked
because
about that before in that like we have our four main lines, right? Our system agnostic or system
sure, but
neutral.
specifically board
Our-
games.
Yeah. Well, our the board games that will fit in our standard size box, right? Our 7 by 9 box. Um, that is that are not overly complicated, don't overstay their welcome, right? We look at both Zero Day War and Herd. Herd is a card game, a semi-cooperative card game. Um, Zero Day War technically is a card game. You're building your play space using cards,
Yeah.
but it very easily could have been like tiles or anything like that. Whatever. Um, but both of those games, you can play both of those games in about 45 minutes, right? I think um, games that I'm always interested personally in games that use resources in ways that we hadn't expected, or things that can be used in multiple ways, or components that can be used in multiple ways. Um, a card that can be used as a resource and a card that can later be used as a component on whatever,
Yeah,
right?
you love 51st State because it does that.
I love 51st State, absolutely. You know, but there's all kinds of stuff. Like sometimes like we were if there's a game that uh is does not have um a has a mechanic that we don't necessarily have in our catalog right now. I'm like, okay, well, what would that be? If we don't have any like social deduction games, right? We don't
Hmm.
have any um uh we don't have any like true like deck building games.
Hmm.
Um which, I am a sucker for deck building games. But I thematically, you know, um, a lot of games I don't you could take the core mechanics of the game and paste on whatever you want.
Right.
Um, Thematically, like we we like horror, we like space, but we have all kinds of. I mean, they're absolutely ripe with possibilities. Like one of the games that we were pitched is, um, about um social currency and relationship dynamics. And that was phenomenal, right? Like we don't have a game like that. We don't have anything like that, and um, it's drastically different than horror or sci-fi.
Right.
Um, and it just, it resonated with me, and that designer does really good stuff. So,
Another another thing we'll be following up with. So,
right, right.
uh, all right. I think maybe we talked about Origins enough. I wasn't really looking at the time, but I think we got enough time to talk about a little bit about, as we usually do. We've reviewed the past 3 months. We want to look ahead a little bit to the next 3 months. Obviously, we have Gen Con on the horizon. Um, that's our big con for this quarter. Um, we'll be obviously when the stuff comes in, we'll be doing fulfillment through this time. We have, I don't know, several projects in production that are in development, I guess. They've not gone to production yet. They're in development, that are still kind of chugging along. We don't have, we have nothing to share. I think we could share some of the art for Beach episodes soon.
Yeah.
But that'll be because the art has been coming in really strong for that, throughout the last few weeks, and so I'm really happy with the stuff. I know
Oh yeah.
Jess got to see some of it. I was showing her some at, some of the final art at Origins, and she was really excited about that. So that's doing pretty good. Um,
It's
I don't.
definitely a different style than we've used in the past, and the
Oh,
artist,
absolutely.
I think the artist is so great at taking the direction that you've given of like the different types of illustrations you wanted to see.
Right, right.
So I'm really excited to see this
I
fun
think
little
we've
like supplement.
Yeah, I think we've talked before about like the beach episode being sort of like the pitch being like this is, any RPG can go into this, can go to the beach, right? Your party from any RPG can go to the beach. And so like that was a strong part of the art direction to JC Florindo. And so like it is make every piece look like it's from a different game, is something that she's really taken up, and they're coming in great. They're coming in great. The different looks for the different, sort of genre of role-playing games that are all these different people at the beach. From a dark piece, dark like as in like it happens at night because it's a 1920s investigator stuff because that always happens at night,
Oh yeah.
versus like, a more anime inflected, freak out at the beach when you see the villain there also drinking a drink with a
An umbrella in
an
it.
umbrella, a drink with an umbrella in it, and because this beach episode is for everybody. It's for every game. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, I think actually there's some art, some new samples came in today, or new pieces came in today I have yet to look at. So,
Yeah.
it's been good with that. On the other side, we have Lucas Sellers and, his ongoing project, Precious Things, which again, these aren't secrets. We've talked about these games before. That manuscript is getting finished up. Oh yeah, yeah. I actually talked to a potential, layout person. We have well, I mean, it's not like there's a contract signed, but like we talked to Emily Intner at uh, at Origins about like possibly doing the layout for that book. So, the little one pager you just held up was her layout
Yeah.
for that one pager. So, uh, we made it made sense to ask about, her doing the whole book, and so that potentially is on board, um, for that. And I mean, those are the two that are probably furthest along of all the stuff that's still in development. We've got, I mean, Cats, I guess, is not yet in production. Cats is still in development technically, but that's like 99%, 95 to 99% of the manuscripts are done, considering all of that. Like we've got, nine of the stretch goal adventures, or well, they're not stretch goals. They were the adventure book. It was all at once. We didn't do stretch goals. So we got nine
Right.
of the adventures done. We got the manuscript complete. We just need to, start to finalize those. Another read through when it's all in place is what is needed for those. So we've got all of those manuscripts have been happening over the last 3 months, and we'll continue working on them until they're ready to come to the Precious Things and Beach episode might still come to crowdfunding this year. Um, we need to look at the schedule for that and when we're going to do those. We don't have any plans at the moment, or we don't have any firm dates at the moment, but like
Yeah.
we would still like to do those two sometime this year. We've got, 6 months, 2 quarters, two
Yeah.
games. Sounds like that's how it's going to work out, but we'll see.
And then I know that, we've talked about like light speeders, which is
Hmm.
kind of a board game, which is the design is done, art is being worked on, um, and we have a couple other things which are, in the works. Right?
Absolutely.
We've talked about other RPGs which are in the works, but those keep plugging along, and when we get to a certain point, those will flip and be like in the forefront,
Right.
so got a lot of stuff that we're just moving through and making sure that when certain projects are reach their uh when they reach their level of completion, that we feel comfortable moving forward with it. That's where we are.
Yeah. Well, anything else we want to talk about plans for Gen Con or anything else we've got coming up in the next few
Oh,
months?
man. um
Have we thought about Gen Con yet?
I mean, a little bit. Gen Con's going to be great. We're going to have a number of people. Um, we're going to have a number of people down here, or down there, that, like we said, Sam Knowlton's going to be there. Sam Brick is going to be there. Some of the people that have helped us in years past will be there as well. But we're gonna have some stuff that we didn't have last year. Zero Day War is gonna be there for the first time because it really came out at Gamehole Con last year. We're gonna have some Herd. We're gonna have Home. So we're gonna have three of our boxed games like that out, in that size, out there, so people can kind of see the collection of what we're trying to do going forward. We're gonna have other RPGs there. We're gonna be right next to Arcane Library and Shadow Dark, where we have compatible games or compatible books. That's why we do some of the system neutral, system agnostic stuff we do. Um, and I don't know, I'm really excited about the con this year. I have no idea what to expect, but
Right.
I'm excited to get some of these things into people's hands that we've been working on for a long time.
Right. I mean, there's such a bit of uncertainty over the con because a lot of major companies have decided not to come or decided
Yeah,
to send like a skeleton crew instead of having you know, some people don't want to travel to the United States. Can't imagine why that would be. Um,
right, right.
uh, so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions about how the show will feel and look, and will that be good for those of us who can still go, or will it be bad for everyone? Is it's a mystery. It's more mysteries, unknown unknowns. Um, our booth number will be 2460, so that's where we will be in the hall. Similar to last year, that sort of like line right up from the play area into the other side of the convention hall seemed to work really well for us last year. So we put ourselves, or we asked to be in the same spot this year. So 2460, right in that same area. Looking
Yeah,
forward to the show.
yeah. It's gonna be great. So I'm really looking forward to that.
At the
And
time
then
of the recording, the Emmy Awards have not been announced, so we don't know. Um, you know, it's possible,
we,
depending on how they
yeah,
counted Herd or how they counted Home.
yeah.
Maybe Home would be up for an award. I don't know.
I
We'll find
think
out.
I don't know. I think Home would have been considered for last year um, based on the application process. However, the free RPG Day Quick Start for Garbage and Glory was submitted last year as well. for this coming year, and I am extremely hopeful about that because not only did Matt, your work on that was fantastic, but I think that the cover is great as a free product. For free RPG Day, it was stellar. We had so
Yeah.
many people who were so excited about getting that one. Um,
I'm pretty
so
happy with how, the
yeah,
Doggos one was nominated last year, and I mean
yeah,
those two quick starts are both pretty good products.
yeah. And you can pick that up on Drive Thru RPG for free,
Yeah.
if you don't have it yet. And then one of the things I was kind of disappointed with in this quarter was that due to like the trade disagreements, the trade war that was uh,
Mm,
put out there, our free RPG Day product that had been announced and talked about for this year, we couldn't get it on a boat. So it will be here and it's coming into the United States with our Herd and Garbage and Glory stuff. But um, we've already talked with Free RPG Day, and we're going to include that in next year's bundle, so people can still have that. Um, People can still have that product,
right.
uh, and it just doesn't, go to waste. It actually will still get in people's
Sure.
hands.
It's just the joke that I've been trying to make, the silver lining here is that we're early for next year.
There it is.
Uh, rather than
Yeah,
late for this year, we're early for next year.
that's right.
So yeah, that'll be. Did you say what it was? We can say. Can we say what it is? Did we say we said what it is?
Um,
Or is it still supposed to be a surprise?
I, s- I'm not sure.
Okay. Well,
Like,
we won't say what it is. I think certain people know we have said it, but
yeah,
I think yeah. The free RPG Day wants to keep it
close to
it,
that.
yeah, they want it to be a surprise when you find out. So yeah, we'll be joining Free RPG Day 2026 a little bit early with this product. But yeah, I just bring up the innies because we've been for 3 years in a row because we had a nominated product. I don't know that we'll have a nominated product, but it's like you still got to go to the innies, right? Like
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
where
Fingers
like all of
crossed.
our friends,
Oh yeah, we'll
we'll
go.
cheer other people on whether we're nominated or not. So.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
one of these times, we keep saying yes to people. One of these times, we'll get to be up on stage announcing one of these categories. We'll have gained
Yeah.
enough industry clout that we'll be up there.
That's the that would be neat. That would be really neat. You know.
Look, please let me read the graphic design names, the names of these graphic designers.
Right. It's
Um,
it's fantastic. I think the Ennies are they do a great service for the industry, and um it's always a fun event to do at Gen Con. Um and I think by um that's going to be our last con of this quarter,
mhm,
of Q3, and then we'll be the next time we do this, we'll be uh, looking forward to both Gamehole Con and PAX. So
right.
uh, we'll be able to
And
report on Gen Con, and we'll be able to report on the new stuff that we're working on.
yeah, and Conjunction. We'll probably do Conjunction.
Oh, that's right, that's right. Which is a
That's
brand
our
new thing.
local one. It's new, but also it's the same people that have organized ones in the past. So
Right.
we'll see. We'll see how that one goes. But no Goatman Festival this year, I don't think.
No, not. I will go with my kids, but I will not go in a booth.
Yeah. Which is fine. Um, it was not for us. But that's okay. That's okay. Not every con has to be for
Not
every
every con
exhibitor.
is. That's right.
Uh, all right, Brandon. I've got one more thing to say, something that I was working on throughout this year. We're recording at the beginning of July. As of the time of recording, just yesterday, the second video in the Indie Game Developer Network summer series was released. It's releasing Mondays throughout the summer. In the six Mondays between Origins and Gen Con, that's when the 6 videos for the summer series are coming out. We took the theme of crowdfunding. So we had a crowdfunding 101 2 weeks ago. This week was interview that I did with representatives of Kickstarter and backer kit and GameFound. We had a friendly chat about friendly rivalries and history of crowdfunding and kind of asking each of them what their platform offers. So that video came out yesterday. If you want to see,
Oh,
you want to hear,
I knew
yeah,
I knew it was happening, but if it's out, I'm gonna go watch it.
it
All right.
happened. It came out yesterday at the time of recording. So yeah,
I love it.
I'll put a link to that in the video description as well. But we've got assessing risk in regards to crowdfunding, not using crowdfunding, a historical perspective on some people who've been crowdfunding since like 2012. So like how has crowdfunding changed over that time? So lots of different panel discussions from members of IGDN and associated other people in the industry are coming out weekly this summer. So I want to give a shout out to all of the efforts of all the panelists. But specifically, I did one and I thought it was a fun conversation, you know, perhaps not the most informative, or I did not come at them with like any hard questions, right? It's below the level of journalism, right? It's like, hey,
Right.
at least tell me what your side of the story is, and everybody was real friendly with each other, um, and
What do
I
you
didn't.
hate most about the other company?
Right, right. I didn't ask any questions like that. It was not that was not the goal of the show. But anyway, I think it came out pretty fun, and you can hear from three pretty cool people who are making crowdfunding happen on the platform side, and you don't often get to hear that perspective. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's me. That's what we've been up to. I think we've covered it, Brandon. I think we ought to wrap this conversation up and get on
Yeah.
with our days.
For real. It just doesn't stop, man.
Oh, for real, for real.
But hey,
Like
that's good. That's good. I really look forward to the stuff that we have coming out, and um, I'm I'm really really excited about what the rest of this year has. And man, some of the cool stuff that we have planned for the future. Oh, it's gonna be so cool.
we do have lots of fun stuff planned. And it's especially having been back from Origins, like a convention is such a time to be excited about possibilities. And we
Yeah.
we always keep a notebook. The good ideas are in the notebook, and sometimes that turns into actual games. And yeah, so it's always exciting.
Yeah. How many how many other riches do we know?
Oh man. I don't know. I only know the two. I only know two, but like I'm sure we can
We
find
should find
out.
it, do a micro game anthology called Embarrassment of Riches.
I, this is the kind of nonsense that I'm all for.
Yeah,
You're always telling me we shouldn't do this kind of bad business decision, but I'm like, no, this one's funny.
this is
Uh,
fantastic. This is this is just the right kind of terrible, man.
right. Well, if you're a game designer named Rich, get in touch because we need to get to an embarrassment. We're not to an embarrassment yet.
We're not yet to an embarrassment. We only have two.
We only have two. Uh, Other than that, if you got any questions about like what we've been up to or what we're doing, obviously we're on this platform, YouTube, where you're watching this video. We got our Discord. Come join the Discord, and you can talk about our games. The most active discussions are always over about Never Going Home, but all the games get some conversation throughout the month over there. We're both available by email. You can find our emails. We got the wetinkgames.com, which is currently hopefully being renovated in the background, and you'll be seeing some improvements over there before too long. Um, so we are, trying to make that more of a hub for our sales as well.
Yep.
So yeah, it's great. Come find us. Come talk to
Come
us.
find us.
Thanks for your support.
Thank you.